500 meters underground, 10,000 enemy forces, 72 hours to hell. US Delta Force descends into the deepest combat operation in military history. Iranian Revolutionary Guards defending a bunker complex that shouldn't exist. 3 days of subterranean warfare where every corridor is a kill box and every breath could be your last. But there's something about this raid that doesn't add up. Something that happened 16 hours into the operation that changed everything. And when you understand what that was, this entire mission suddenly makes terrifying sense. But here's what they won't tell you about going 500 meters deep. The enemy isn't just the guards, it's the Earth itself. And on hour 34, Delta discovered something down there that wasn't on any intelligence briefing. Something that made the entire raid either the greatest success or the most catastrophic failure in special operations history. Recently, intelligence confirmed the existence of an underground facility deeper than anything previously encountered. Iranian Revolutionary Guards operating a bunker complex 5 football fields beneath the surface. What should have been precision airstrike became the most dangerous raid in Delta Force history. And the reason it took 72 hours will change how you think about underground warfare forever. Welcome to AndreyNavyReport, where we decode the naval and special operations that reshape modern combat. The intelligence brief seemed impossible. Underground facility at 500 meters depth, reinforced concrete construction, multiple levels, estimated 10,000 Iranian Revolutionary Guards. Purpose: classified weapons development or command center. Target: complete facility neutralization. Airstrike assessment: ineffective. 500 meters of earth and rock. Bunker buster munitions insufficient. Only option: direct action raid, ground penetration. Room clearing at depth no American forces had ever operated at. Delta Force received the mission. 200 operators. Best trained special operations force in the world. Equipment: specialized for underground warfare. Breaching charges. Thermal imaging. Oxygen systems. Communications gear rated for underground operations. The mathematics were absolutely brutal. 10,000 defenders with home advantage. Narrow corridors limiting tactical options. Depth creating communication challenges and evacuation impossibility. Any conventional force would have 100% casualty projection. But Delta isn't conventional, and the plan they developed wasn't conventional either. But that plan would only work if one critical assumption was correct. And that assumption wouldn't be validated until hour 22, when everything almost collapsed. Hour 2, insertion phase. Not by helicopter, not by vehicle, by vertical descent. Drilling operation created access shaft directly above target facility, 500 meters straight down. Diameter, 2 meters. Descent time, 40 minutes. 200 Delta operators descended single file. Rappelling gear. Controlled descent rate. Communications maintained through fiber optic cable. Every operator knowing that extraction by same route would be impossible under fire. This was one-way insertion. Victory or death. No middle option. Hour 1. Entry level reached. Breaching charges deployed. Reinforced steel door. Explosive entry. The door blew. Delta flooded through. First contact immediate. Iranian guards caught by surprise but recovered fast. Firefight in confined corridor. Delta tactics designed for this. Suppressed weapons. Night vision superiority. Room clearing procedures executed with surgical precision. First level secured in 18 minutes. Iranian casualties, 140 killed. Delta casualties, 3 wounded, none critical. But this was just entry level. 9 more levels below, 9,860 Iranian guards somewhere in that complex. And now they knew Delta was inside. Hour 2. Delta split into 4 assault teams. Each team assigned 2 levels. Simultaneous multi-level assault. Overwhelm Iranian command and control through speed and violence. The descent began. Stairwells became kill zones. Iranian guards established defensive positions. Every landing defended. Every corridor contested. Room clearing at pace that would exhaust operators within hours. But Delta maintained momentum. Breaching. Clearing. Advancing. Iranian casualties mounting rapidly. But so were ammunition expenditures. At this rate, ammunition would be depleted before facility was cleared. Hour 5. Teams reached levels 4 and 5. Iranian resistance intensified. Prepared defensive positions, machine gun nests, overlapping fields of fire. This wasn't panicked defense anymore. This was organized military resistance. Delta casualties increased. 8 killed, 23 wounded, momentum slowing, ammunition consumption at unsustainable rates, medical supplies being expended faster than planned. This is where mission planning showed its genius or its fatal flaw. Everything depended on what happened next. Stay with me. What comes next explains how 200 operators survived 72 hours against 10,000 defenders, and why going 500 meters deep changes everything about combat. Hour 8. Iranian guards attempted counterattack. 400 troops. Coordinated push-up from lower levels. Trying to isolate and destroy Delta teams. Delta response was devastating. Shaped charges collapsed corridor behind Iranian advance. Trapped 400 guards between Delta teams and blocked corridors. Systematic elimination. No escape routes. Complete annihilation. Iranian casualties in counterattack, 400 killed. Delta casualties, 2 killed, 7 wounded. But here's what that engagement revealed. Iranian guards were moving up from lower levels. That meant lower levels were occupied. That meant the facility extended even deeper than intelligence suggested. How deep did this facility actually go? And what was down there that required 10,000 guards? Hour 12. Delta teams reached levels 6 and 7. Found something unexpected. Industrial equipment, manufacturing machinery, chemical storage. This wasn't command bunker. This was production facility. Producing what? Intelligence didn't know. Delta operators took samples, photographed everything. But priority remained. Neutralize all hostile forces and secure facility. Iranian resistance on levels 6 and 7 was fanatical. Guards fighting to the death. No retreats. No surrenders. Whatever was being produced here, they were willing to die protecting it. Delta pushed through, room by room, corridor by corridor. The killing was methodical, exhausting. Every operator carrying 60 pounds of gear in addition to weapons. Operating at 500 meters depth, where air pressure was noticeably different, where fatigue accumulated faster, where every breath felt heavier. Hour 16. This is the turning point that changed everything. But we're not revealing it yet. Delta teams reached level 8, found something that wasn't in any intelligence report, another descent shaft. Going deeper. The facility didn't end at 10 levels. It continued down. How far? Unknown. Delta Command had to make decision. Split forces further to explore deep shaft, or consolidate and complete primary mission of clearing known levels. Split forces risked isolation and defeat in detail. But ignoring deep shaft meant potentially missing mission-critical target. They split forces. 40 operators detached to explore deep shaft. 160 operators continued clearing levels 8, 9, and 10. This decision would determine mission success or catastrophic failure. But which one wouldn't be clear until hour 58. Quick question. In underground warfare 500 meters deep, what's the greatest threat? A. Enemy forces. B. Oxygen depletion. C. Communication loss. D. Something else entirely. Most would say A. They're missing the real threat. The threat that almost destroyed Delta on hour 34. And you'll understand what it is by the finale. AndreyNavyReport decodes the operations that change special warfare forever. Hour 20. The 160 operator main force cleared level 9. Iranian casualties, 2,400 killed so far. Delta casualties, 18 killed, 47 wounded. Ammunition at 40% of initial loadout. Medical supplies at 35%. Fatigue becoming critical factor. Operators had been in continuous combat for 20 hours, at 500 meters depth, wearing full combat gear. The human body isn't designed for this, but Delta training pushes human limits beyond what normal physiology allows. They push to level 10, final known level. Iranian resistance should be heaviest here, last stand defense. But when Delta breached level 10, they found something strange. Light resistance. Maybe 200 guards. Not the thousands expected. Where were the remaining Iranian forces? Answer came fast. They were below, in the deep levels that intelligence didn't know about. Hour 22. The 40 operator detachment exploring deep shaft reached level 11. Then level 12. Then level 13. The facility kept going down. Each level smaller than the ones above, more specialized, more heavily defended relative to size, and then on level 14, they found it. The reason this facility existed, the reason 10,000 guards were willing to die protecting it, but we're not revealing what it was yet, because what they found raised questions more disturbing than answers. Hour 26. Main force secured level 10. Established defensive perimeter. Waited for detachment to complete deep-level reconnaissance. Ammunition now at 25%. Every operator rationing rounds, switching to captured Iranian weapons when possible. Iranian casualties total 6,800 killed. Remaining forces, approximately 3,200. But those 3,200 were all concentrated in deep levels, in confined spaces, defending something they valued more than their lives. Hour 30. Detachment reached level 15, 650 meters depth. Pressure noticeably higher. Air quality degrading. Communications with surface increasingly difficult. And Iranian resistance was absolute. Every meter contested. Guards using suicide tactics. Explosive vests, grenade ambushes, human wave attacks in corridors too narrow for effective maneuver. Detachment casualties mounting rapidly. 8 killed, 19 wounded. In 40 operator force, those were devastating losses. But they pushed deeper, because what they'd found on level 14 made retreat impossible. This mission just became more critical than anyone realized. Hour 34. This is where the real threat manifested. Structural integrity failure. Explosion on level 12, caused by Iranian demolition charges. Ceiling collapse. 40 tons of concrete and rock. Blocked corridor. Detachment was cut off. No route back to main force. No extraction possible. 40 operators. 500 plus meters underground. Separated from main force by collapsed tunnel. Ammunition at 15%. Medical supplies nearly exhausted. Surrounded by 3,000 plus Iranian guards who now knew Delta was trapped. This was the nightmare scenario. The scenario that makes underground warfare more dangerous than any other environment. You can't call airstrikes. You can't evacuate casualties. You can't maneuver. You're trapped in the three-dimensional maze where enemy controls the terrain. Main force attempted to clear collapsed corridor. Impossible. Tons of debris. Would take days to clear. Days the detachment didn't have. Hour 38. Detachment commander made decision. Couldn't go back. Only option was forward. Clear deep levels. Find alternate route up. Or die trying. 40 operators against 3,000 Iranian guards. In narrow corridors. At 650 meters depth. With minimal ammunition and no support. This was suicide. But it was also the only option. Hour 42. Detachment cleared level 15. Iranian casualties, 180 killed. Detachment casualties, 4 more killed. 11 more wounded. 28 operators still effective. Ammunition at 8% of loadout. They captured Iranian weapons. Stripped dead guards of ammunition. Used Iranian grenades. Adapted. Improvised. Survived. Hour 46. Detachment reached level 16. 700 meters depth. Air pressure significantly higher. Breathing difficult. Every operator experiencing symptoms of pressure-related stress. Headaches. Dizziness. Fatigue beyond exhaustion. And Iranian resistance was final stand intensity. Guards fighting in suicide pairs. One shoots while other triggers explosives. Both die. Take Delta operators with them when possible. Detachment cleared level 16, room by room. Iranian casualties, 240 killed. Detachment down to 22 effective operators. Ammunition nearly exhausted. Medical supplies gone. Wounded being carried by other wounded. Hour 52. Detachment found what they were looking for. Alternate route up. Service elevator shaft. Not on any map. Emergency system bypassing collapsed corridor. But the shaft went up to level 8. Not level 10 where main force was. And between level 8 and the detachment were 2,000 Iranian guards who now knew Delta's only escape route. 22 operators. No ammunition reserves. Multiple wounded. 8 levels of hostile territory. 1 elevator shaft. Impossible odds. But Delta doesn't quit. Hour 56. Detachment began ascent, fighting upward level by level. Iranian guards realized what was happening. Concentrated forces to defend elevator shaft. Every level was killing ground. Every elevator door opened to immediate contact. Detachment left wounded operators at each level to hold positions, continuing with fewer operators each level. Hour 62. Detachment reached level 11. 18 operators left, half wounded to some degree. Ammunition completely exhausted, fighting with captured weapons and hand-to-hand combat. Iranian casualties during ascent. 200 killed. Iranian forces learning that trapped Delta operators were more dangerous than full-strength units. Desperation multiplied lethality. Hour 66. Detachment reached level 9. 14 operators. Main force could hear the fighting 2 levels below. Began fighting down to link up. Hour 68. Link up achieved. Main force and detachment reunited. 14 detachment survivors. 142 main force operators. Total. 156 Delta operators still effective. Iranian forces, approximately 800 remaining. Scattered across deep levels. Demoralized by detachment's impossible fighting withdrawal. Hour 70. Final clearing operations. Delta systematically eliminated remaining Iranian forces. No quarter asked or given. This was total warfare at its most brutal. Hour 72. Facility secured. Iranian casualties. 9,800 killed. 200 captured. Delta casualties. 44 killed. 89 wounded. Mission complete. But what did they find that made this all necessary? Now here's the truth that reframes everything. Level 14, 650 meters underground. Delta Detachment found nuclear weapons development program. Not just research, active warhead assembly, advanced stage, months from completion. This wasn't command bunker. This was nuclear weapons production facility buried so deep that no airstrike could reach it, protected by 10,000 guards willing to die protecting it. The facility going 16 levels deep, not excessive security, necessary depth to hide thermal signatures and radiation from satellite detection. Every level designed to shield the levels below. That's why Iranian guards fought with suicidal intensity. They were protecting nuclear weapons program that represented years of secret development and billions in investment. That's why intelligence couldn't confirm facility purpose. It was deliberately designed to be undetectable from surface. That's why Delta had to go in. No other option could reach 650 meters underground to confirm and destroy nuclear weapons. The 72-hour raid wasn't just special operations mission. It was strategic operation that prevented nuclear proliferation. 200 Delta operators accomplished what diplomacy and sanctions couldn't. They physically destroyed Iran's hidden nuclear weapons program. Remember Hour 16? When Delta found the deep shaft, that's when mission changed from facility raid to strategic counter-proliferation operation. From that moment, failure wasn't option, whatever the cost. Remember Hour 34 when detachment was cut off? That's when 40 operators became the only people on Earth who could prevent Iranian nuclear weapons. And they fought through impossible odds because failure meant nuclear-armed Iran. Remember those suicide defenses? Iranian guards knew what they were protecting, knew that if Delta succeeded, decades of secret work would be destroyed. That's why they fought to the death. Quiz answer. The greatest threat in underground warfare isn't enemy forces or oxygen or communications. It's structural integrity. One explosion, one collapse, entire force trapped forever. That's what happened Hour 34. That's what almost ended the mission. This raid changed everything because it proved special operations can achieve strategic effects that conventional military operations cannot. 200 operators stopped nuclear proliferation through direct action that no airstrike or diplomatic pressure could accomplish. 500 meters underground, Delta Force didn't just fight Iranian guards. They fought to prevent nuclear weapons from reaching hostile hands. They fought knowing extraction was uncertain. They fought knowing they might die in tunnels that would become their tombs. 44 Delta operators died in those tunnels. 89 were wounded. But they prevented Iranian nuclear weapons. They destroyed facility that took decades to build. They accomplished mission that will never be fully declassified. So, was this raid worth the casualties? Was 72 hours of underground hell worth stopping nuclear proliferation? Comment your analysis. But understand this. Some missions are so critical that casualties become acceptable. Some threats are so dangerous that extraordinary risks become necessary. What's the future of underground warfare? Can facilities at 500+ meters depth be defeated without direct action raids? Would adversaries build even deeper after this? Intelligence agencies study these questions constantly. 3 final questions. How many similar facilities exist worldwide? Would other nations risk similar raids? What depth makes facility truly untouchable? Consider the implications carefully. Subscribe to AndreyNavyReport, where we decode naval and special operations defining modern warfare, strategic missions, underground combat, operational reality. The 72-hour raid ended. The nuclear threat ended. But the lesson continues. Because sometimes stopping catastrophic threats requires descending into hell itself. And sometimes 200 operators can change history in ways that armies cannot. AndreyNavyReport, where special operations meet strategic impact.